Air India is now going beyond the existing safety rules and will test all its pilots for prohibited substances after the captain of a flight involved in a sudden altitude loss tested positive for marijuana in a confirmatory drug test. The new testing will begin immediately and will also cover pilots of Air India Express. Under India's existing rules, airlines are required to randomly test at least 10% of their flight crew every year for psychoactive substances. Air India says it now wants to test its entire pilot workforce. The airline says the tests will check for substances and medications prohibited under aviation regulation and will be carried out at its Gurugram Academy, briefing centers, offices and other designated locations. Air India says the move is intended to strengthen safety standards and reassure passengers. The decision follows an incident on 4th August involving an Air India Airbus A320neo flying from Phuket to Delhi. During the flight, the aircraft suddenly lost around 300 feet or 91 meters of altitude. The plane stabilized and eventually landed safely in Delhi. But the sudden altitude change resulted in injuries and passengers and crew members. Indian authorities opened an investigation and the aircraft's flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder have been secured for examination. Airbus has also said it will send specialists to assist with the investigation. The captain was subsequently subjected to a drug screening. Initial screening indicated the presence of psychoactive substances, which led to a confirmatory laboratory test. That confirmatory test was reported to be positive for marijuana, according to a source familiar with the matter. The positive test result is now part of the investigation, but it does not by itself establish that marijuana use caused the aircraft to lose altitude. Investigators still have to establish what happened inside the aircraft, why the altitude changed, and whether there was any connection between the pilot's condition and the incident. That is why the investigation is looking at the aircraft's recorded data and cockpit communication alongside other evidence. Both pilots have also been removed from flying duties while the investigation continues. Until now, the regulatory requirement was based on random testing of minimum 10% of flight crew each year. Air India's new policy is much broader. Every pilot will now be subject to testing. The screening covers psychoactive substances and medications that are prohibited under aviation rules. The test can take place during training, after flights, at briefing centers, at offices or at other locations designated for pilots. Air India is already under intense scrutiny over aviation safety following the June 2025 Ahmedabad-London crash, which killed 241 people on board and 19 people on the ground. The Phuket-Delhi incident is a separate case and investigators have not established that the pilot's drug test result caused the altitude loss. But the latest testing policy shows that Air India is choosing to go beyond the minimum regulatory requirement.